My name is Charles Jensen, aka Buffalo, is what everybody knows me as. My fair name and every other name. Well, let's see. I first heard about the fair in like 77, I think it was. And I was living on the other side of the mountains there in Redmond. And they were advertising it on a public radio station. And it sounded really cool. I was like, wow, that sounds like someplace I really want to go. Well, I never made it from the other side of the mountains over here till a couple of years later when I moved into Eugene. And then I heard an advertisement for the fair again on the radio. And I'm like, oh, I remember that. I heard that ad before. I think I'll have to go and check this thing out. So that was 1979. I borrowed my dad's Oldsmobile and drove it out here to Veneta. You know, I was new to the area, just moved out here from Boise, where I was raised at. And came to the fair for the first time. It was pretty most amazing thing I ever seen. There's nothing like that anywhere in Idaho you ever seen. Wandered around the place for a while, and looking at the wonderful booths were all just made out of barnwood in those days, and random pieces of lumber or tree parts that were cobbled together by hippies who weren't really carpenters or anything like that. There were no codes or nothing. So it was one of the neatest things to me I'd ever seen, you know, wandering through the big old oak trees and stuff, looking at all these hippie hovels in the woods. Well, it's kind of quite nice, you know, and then I noticed that it's kind of like Shakedown Street, you know, and there's people walking around drinking beer and wine and stuff. I went to the store and I got me a bottle of wine, and came back and was wandering around the fair, and met some people that I knew and sat down with them and drinking the wine, you know. I slipped a random slip of paper into my bottle of wine, and things got more colorful after that, and a little more fun even, you know. I was like wandering around the fair some more, checking out the most amazing vaudeville acts, Dr. Atomic's medicine show and stuff. They were just great entertainment. And, a little later in the afternoon, just, you know, one of the most amazing things, this beautiful hippie chick come walking down the path like some topless cigarette gals selling marijuana brownies. And so, of course, I had to try one of them. It's like, from what I remember, it's a fairly big brownie and all green. I only ate half of the thing and gave half of it to some friends of mine, and they said they shared it with a third person, and everybody got a really good time out of the deal. And well, let's see, it was a good old time. It wasn't all good. You know, about a week before I came to the fair, I was in Weiser at the National Old Time Fillers contest there. And late at night on one of the stages in the campground, I fell asleep on the edge of the stage, and somebody stole my hat right off my head. And when I was wandering around the fair, I ran across a guy who was sporting 3 or 4 of my silver pins on his vest, you know. But, you know, I loved the fair, the attitude, the whole thing so much that I just turned around and walked away from the guy instead of even confronting him, because I knew that would only get me into trouble and probably get me kicked out of here, and I never get to come back, and I wasn't about to let that happen. So I kissed my pins goodbye. It was a big surprise to me when the sweep came. And by then I was about 6 sheets into the wind. I've been walking around drinking random beers all day, and I polished off a couple bottles of wine, you know. It was a great old party. And then they told me I had to leave and go home. It was terrible. I'm like, you got to be kidding, man. I ain't getting behind the wheel of a car. So you can throw me in jail or do whatever you want, you know, and, but I'm not. You can't make me drive out of here. So, you know, it's like they pushed me on out of the fair. I didn't know how to beat the sweep or even know if I wanted to really try, you know. Yeah, but once they got me to the parking lot, that was as far as I was going to go. fellow by the name of Don Kerr came around about every 20 minutes telling me I couldn't camp there. And I kept reminding him that I wasn't camping. You don't see no sleeping bags, campfire, tent, nor nothing else. I'm just sitting in my car trying to sober up. But still, he came back every 20 minutes. But later on, we met each other here at the fair and became really tight friends. So it all works out okay in the end. The next morning, I called my dad up to tell him I still had his car and nothing wrong with it, and that I'd probably be home in about 20 minutes or so. And he told me that he got a phone call from Boise, Idaho, that my daughter had been born the night that I was sitting in my car in the parking lot of the country fair. So I just got in the car and drove it straight to Boise to go see my daughter for the first time. And that was quite a bit of my experience the first time at the country fair. I have to think longer about it. I remember, you know, they all run together so much. I can remember the first one pretty well. And the thing that really made me fall in love with was reminding me of the hippie days of the 60s and the random back to natureness of the whole thing. And so it's just great. That's modernized a lot, you know. It's like, I remember the good old days, and you walked around at night and it was very dark and quiet and totally different ambiances. If you lit up a Coleman lantern, you have 6 people from 6 different directions yelling, "Turn off that light!" And they would. The lights were basically old, you know, old oil lanterns and candles and such. Well, you know, those are a fire hazard, so you got to get something different, of course. Oh, you know, they keep telling me it's the 21st century, but you know, I guess I'm stuck in the 60s. I liked it more the way it was. It was more family oriented and a lot smaller, of course, which makes it easier to know everybody. And the recycling crew, of course, has grown exponentially, just like every other crew that was here. When I first started here in '82, it was way different, you know. We basically were the crew. I mean, there was other crews like the water crew and stuff, but since we were the ones with the big trucks, we were the guys that got to move the benches, and we moved the water barrels, and we moved the recycle barrels, and we moved the pianos, you know. We did just about, you know, move everything because we were the guys with the big trucks. And nowadays they got a crew for everything, so all we have to do is try to keep the place clean. Yeah, that's changed a lot as far as that sort and that goes, you know. A lot less stuff going to the dump these days. And the job's a lot easier than it used to be for some of us. Not for all of us. Memory is not what it used to be. I started here as a fresh-faced kid. I couldn't even grow a mustache practically. I was like, stories. Boy, I don't know. See, I told you. I told you I clam up. I can't think under pressure. Stop pressuring me. Oh, gee. Stories, yeah, there you go. The day they came running up to me and told me my truck was in the ditch, that was a pretty funny story. But yeah, oh, I don't know. A lot of stories come to mind. Most of them are inappropriate. I used to have a random dream. I dreamed I was at the fair, but I couldn't recognize the fair. The paths were all paved and it was all commercial. It's changed a lot, you know. I saw a shirt a couple of years ago that pretty much summed it up. It said, had a picture of the peach on it, Oregon Country Fair, Mall of the Woods. Now that shirt slayed me, you know, of course, a bootleg shirt, but you know, it did seem to strike a tone with me. As far as the future of the fair, you know, as I say, I liked it better before. It's still a great fair, but it's not the same fair. It's changed a lot. I don't think it's as kind and gentle as it used to be. And it's just gotten too big to be, I don't know. Everybody thinks they want to keep making it bigger and got to make room for more people and so on and so on. But the bigger it gets, the less it has attraction that it had when it was smaller, I think. But a lot of people think it's the biggest party in the state and think it's what it ought to be. And it is basically a different thing to every person, Whatever you think the country fair is, well, it's probably not. It's probably something different than what you think it is. And everybody has got their own random idea of what it's all about. They're not the same. Oh, the recycling crew. Well, as I was saying, we had the big trucks. Well, I didn't have a big truck. When I came out here, the third time was pre-fair, but it was right before the fair, trying to get on one of the crews. And everybody was all full up, of course, and didn't have room on their crews. The third year I came out a week early or something like that, maybe a little more before the fair. Because I knew where it was at that time, I got here sooner, and I went around and asked all the crews, and all the crews had the same answer, of course, the same answer that everybody gets. We're all full up. Go ask the recycling crew. And I've heard that so many times from people. They all said, they said. In the old days, that wasn't allowed either. You had to have live music, and recreated electronic music wasn't allowed either. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I came out and talked to the recycling crew, and they had the same answer, of course. Well, we're full. We got all the people we need. And so I was just standing around bullshitting with some of the guys and the gals who were standing there waiting for somebody to tell them what to do. And a fellow by the name of Jim Guthrie drove up in a truck and said he needed a couple of guys, big guys, to go help him move some pianos. I wasn't doing anything. I said, yeah, I'll help you move some pianos. So we drove to town and picked up one piano and brought it back out to the fair, and we took it and put it on Shady Grove stage. And then we went down and got another piano from a different location and brought it back out to the fair. In them days, the fair was borrowing pianos from random people who were willing to donate them to come out here and sit in the weather. And so after that, we went and moved a bunch of benches, this, that, and the other thing, since I was already in the truck. Went and did all that stuff, and at the end of the day, Mr. Robert Painter, who was in charge of the crew, was going down the line passing out shirts to people. Your shirt was your pass in those days. And he's passing out the shirts to people, and he got to me, he's like, "You're not on the crew?" And Jim Guthrie said, "Oh yeah, he's a hard worker, he's on the crew." And so they gave me a shirt, and there I was on the crew. Slow learner, I'm still on the crew. A lot of people that have been on the crew since me have moved on to much higher positions in the fair. I'm still just doing what I do, which I really enjoy my job though, I have more fun by the time I get off work than most people have all day. The idea of doing random things, art projects, and that was just one that I thought would be nice for kids in the new kids loop, since they didn't have a lot of stuff in there. It was just an idea I had actually a few years ago about a lot of the trees got the beautiful little holes in the bottom of them, the hollows that could be easily converted into a little house, I actually got a couple of them done, but like so many things around here, one of them walked away, and the other one still looks beautiful in the tree. You have to find it for yourself. And hopefully there'll be more someday. Someday over the rainbow. Oh, yeah, I like gnomes, They're not like fairies, they're not as mischievous, they're more helpful. That's kind of how I like to be. Random art projects, you know. I like random art projects. It used to be, what we would do is paint signs. You know, always been signs that need to be painted, you know, and we just started making nicer signs and better signs. And fancy signs, you know, that's cool stuff. It's, you know, art, as far as other, you know, public art projects, you know, I haven't done a lot of them. When the Godzilla thing came up, when they accidentally put gasoline into the diesel tank and diesel into the gasoline tank, and then, you know, filled up all the trucks, and they were trying to run on half gas, half diesel, and it was a terrible, terrible thing. As they were all smoking and coughing and farting and dying, and we were actually pushing them out of the 8 by hand because they wouldn't run. And someone was supposed to take care of that problem. I offered to do it myself, but they wouldn't let me because they told me I do too much already. You gotta go take a break. These other people are gonna do it. Of course, it doesn't get done. The next day, we had the same problem with all the trucks. They're coughing and farting and smoking and running terrible. And there is, you know, rumors floating around of people wanting to, you know, ditch the old trucks and get some newer trucks or rent some trucks, or, you know, these are all donated trucks by people that love the fair, that want to help us out, you know. So we love the trucks and we love the people that donate them. Godzilla was just like, it's like our mascot. And I just decided that if they think they're going to get rid of it, I'm going to fix it so they can't. I'm going to make it so beautiful and a piece of art that they can't get rid of it, and they have to just fix it. And that's where originally the paint job on Godzilla, painted the scales on there with the help of some kitchen folks and other random volunteers. And we got the truck looking so beautiful that it's become everybody's favorite truck. And then, you know, it just had to evolve and become the real thing in the end. I had to like put real scales on it because that's what it needed, and still keep the beautiful 1949 Chevrolet motif that it was born with. And that's how Godzilla was born. And now it's everybody's favorite truck. I hear that all the time. Every scale on that truck, 100 hammer blows at least. The average is about 100, yeah. That's a bunch. Yeah, sure came out beautiful. And yeah, I like doing random art projects. I guess maybe I like the kudos you get when people go, ooh, ah, oh, you did that? That's beautiful. Yes, yes, it is. And yeah, so, and I love just to do art for the sake of art. I don't want to sell it. I'll give it away, you know. I don't want to do other things for money. I just like to do art so people can admire it and enjoy it. That's what I like. Uh-huh.
That's what makes you special, Buffalo.
Yeah, the family, the dysfunctional family seems to me like it's turning into, you know, I'm here a lot, you know, and you know, when you're out here a lot and you work a lot, you get to know the people that are here working pre-fair, you know, there's a lot of them here, and you all get to be pretty chummy, and that's when the family's tight, you know. And I love all the people here and that then, but and then all of a sudden, you know, the family grows exponentially, and there's just tons of people here, and they're like, who the heck are you? And like, what do you mean, who am I? Everybody knows me. And they're like, I don't know you. Well, you should if you're at the country fair. It's gotten so big, you know, it'll never be like it was, you know. It'll never be intimate, you know, like it used to be, so close. And I was a caretaker here. Of course, they don't mention that when they talk about it. because everybody basically forgot. I was only here for one summer in '83, and I lived on the property. You know, I love this place. It's like part of my life, and always has been, and always will be, no matter what. I feel at home when I come here. It's like a regeneration for your soul when you get around a bunch of like-minded people, and you know, you feel like maybe there's some hope for the world after all. Lately it's got a little dysfunctional. There's some weirdos running around and strange people and random people you have to run off out of here occasionally, you know? But all in all, I guess not any more dysfunctional than my regular family is. Well, I love the art projects, you know, and the political satire, the political, what do you call it, atmosphere at the fair, anything that makes you think, you know. I like the fair to become more of an education tool and less of a commercial enterprise. I'd like to see it become more intimate and not more bigger. Yeah. I think it's important to educate people. It seems like it's getting more important all the time because people really don't have the common sense that used to be, you know, a regular thing. It's just not anymore. It's not too common anymore. And so I'd just like to see it, well, I don't know. It's a little confusing to me when I think about it, you know. Do we need more paths? Do we need more people? It's true, we're getting older and our families are getting bigger, and they need to make room for them. But that's sooner or later, you know, that's got to stop. It's got to come to a point where you can't get bigger, you just have to get better, you know. I don't know. I haven't thought about it that much, you know. The future of the fair, it's like totally out of my hands, so things that I cannot do anything about, I tend not to think about a lot. Well, like I say before, it was, you know, all about the art, and that's why they had a ban on recreated music, because we wanted to have the artists create the music and not the machines, you know, to recreate it, you know, canned music. You know, and that's probably is a part of, you know, that the younger generation, they're all about their electronic gadgets and gizmos, you know. It's really amazing to watch them walking around with theme music going on and stuff. Just this random music that follows them around. It's like, okay, got theme music, great. I guess, you know. Yeah, I guess it's just, I guess I'm just, you know, an old-fashioned kind of guy. I like the old ways. I like to keep them, you know, and I think the old ways were the best ways, you know. Yes, I know, I never come into the 21st century, but then I never wanted to. You know, the internet's a great tool, but it's also a great, I don't know what you call it, you know. It's like a lot of people waste so much of their time just looking at other people's random stuff instead of like living their own life, creating their own stuff, you know, with their hands. They just don't do it so much anymore. That's why the whole hippie theme of the fair really, you know, is like reminding me of the return to nature, you know, and the building of your own society, you know, making things with your hands, not just buying and selling random things from other countries or whatever. It was a really great fair. It still is, you know. You have to make the products you sell here. Yeah. the pre and post fair is a lot more like the old fair used to be, and the fair itself, you know, is a big spectacle in between it. A lot of times I'll just not go to the fair. Yeah, I'll hang out in camp. I'll go to other people's camps. I'll go and see my friends, you know, and wait for the fair to close and the dust to die down and the people to go away, and then I'll go to the fair. I think the fair would be great if you could just get rid of the people. You know what I mean? I should have a smaller cap on attendance, I think, you know. That it doesn't have to be wall-to-wall people. And that's one thing, you know, I'd like to see the fair do. Just have a little smaller cap on the people. What was I talking about? Yeah, I mean, I love the people at the country fair, you know, and all they really need to do is learn to be more kind and more, how do you say, tolerant, you know, and be generous and try to help other people whenever you can. That's the important thing in life. I don't know. It's like just the philosophy of my life, you know. It's always be kind to other people and always try to help them out whenever you can. I guess that's about all.
Thank you, Buffalo.
Okay, you finally got me.